Welcome to Between Two Vulns Vegas edition. For the entire week, in the spirit of Vegas, me and Dan will gamble $100 of our own money for every new vulnerability submitted on the Hunter platform.
Yeah, I like to think of us as charitable people.
Yes.
I think the casinos are really hurting right now. I mean, COVID
They
really took a
need,
dent out
yeah,
of their
they
coffers.
really need more money. The casinos absolutely need more money.
So it's for a good cause.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we're really philanthropists, really, at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we really are. First vulnerability of today. Let's start with Ranjit Git, who basically discovered a way of deleting a template in Lunary even after you were removed from an organization in Lunary.
Authorization.
And authorization.
And Auth-Z issues.
Yes.
We see more and more of these now.
Yes. And it's actually very interesting because this was validated by the maintainer too and fixed by the maintainer. So it's
Yeah, he's been really active.
Yes, the Lunary maintainer has been really active. It's a success story. Actually, we've gotten a lot of Lunary reports actually. Oh, that's great. This is part of the Las Vegas experience.
Yeah, things are going to be popping in and out of sounds from booths and stuff as they prepare.
But yeah, no, and this was discovered and fixed, and you got a decent amount of money in it. So shout out to Ranjit Git for this one.
Yeah, he's been around since the very early days.
Yep,
One of like the originals.
For real. And then the second one would be the Minplex Labs, anything
Yeah,
LM.
anything
right?
LM.
That anybody can basically just download the database of the
user, a low-level user.
A low-level user, yes, exactly. You can just download the database of the entire anything LLM server. So that's fun.
Which exposes,
Passwords,
obviously
usernames,
hashes and
all
API
that
keys
stuff.
and stuff
So
like
that was definitely a good
We
one.
got several Auth-N, Auth-Z issues
And
we're
I think
highlighting this time.
this was also fixed by the maintainer, which is another success
Wonderful.
story. Wonderful.
Love
because
that.
We don't have to
Love it when the maintainers help out.
because we don't have to triage it.
Yes.
So there you go.
And it's their project. Like, I don't really want to weigh in necessarily. Because then
exactly.
they can be like, well, but there's this weird side channel that we have a strange thing with authentication and it's not actually valid. It's not, all right, well, why didn't you just put that in a comment?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But no, we love it when the maintainers come in.
Yes, we love it when the maintainers do triage and fix things. That's exactly what the platform was designed to do.
Yeah.
And then the final one for today. This is an arbitrary file write. Well, it's sort of it's sort of a tar. It's a tar slip, but also an arbitrary file write. So basically, paying ZP Brent, which is shout out to ZP Brent there. He's been like on Hunter since the beginning. I think.
Yeah,
He's, like, one
really
of the
good reports
POGs.
too. Really good, cool findings.
Yes, and he basically found a way of basically making the PyTorch Lightning server download a malicious Targz file, and then
The plugins, I think.
Yeah, through the plugins, and then overriding any file on the server remotely. But it's funny because in order to do this, you need to actually stand up a malicious Flask server. And then, I don't know what that sound was. There's a dinosaur going through the floor here.
Sponsored by T-Rex.
Sponsored by Jurassic Park.
Little brain, lots of
We
AI.
need the theme song. But yeah, no, there's a Flask server that basically you have to put the Targz file in. Then you got to make the PyTorch Lightning server, go out, download the Targz file, pull it back, and then make it run the plugin that's in the Targz file.
Right.
And that'll overwrite any file on the.
And now let's talk about Targz. This is called a tar slip vulnerability. It's when you open up a malicious tar file and you unzip it. A lot of times you can maliciously payload that tar file so that when it unloads or unzips, you can put a path inside that tar file and it automatically unzips into that path, a malicious path. Now, most of the time when we see tar slips, it is people who have scanned it with a software, a static analysis tool, and the static analysis tool says, hey, they're unzipping tar files in this part of the library. And 99% of the time, that is in a local library. That you have to go import this local library, and then you have to manually unzip a malicious tar file. Meaning the only person that's being affected by that is you. It's just you. And so those are the ones that we usually close. This is actually a remote tar slip, and that's what we want to see. The remote tar slips are actually quite powerful because you can overwrite the SSH keys. And if you do that, then you have access to the server. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's a great finding. And this was also fixed by the maintainers of PyTorch Lightning too.
Fantastic.
So these are all three.
We've had a bunch
stories.
of really cool findings in PyTorch Lightning because it's an extremely popular project. I don't think it gets a lot of marketing, although it is very, very popular. I see it in production tools all the time, but it has had quite a few nasty vulnerabilities in the past year, and they've fixed all of them very quickly. So shout out to those guys.
Shout out to everybody here.
So normally on these podcasts, we like to help the hunters kind of do their job. But today, we're going to help all the people around us do their job, who just joined on and glommed and stuck AI onto the booth without really knowing what it's doing. So I would say almost every...
I zoned out there. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, no, it was a long night.
I'd say like almost every one of these booths has the AI plastered on the name, but if I go to your booth and I ask you, well, how do you use AI? Are you using LLMs? Are you using RAG? Are you using fine-tuning? Are you using time series analysis? Like, well, how are you using it? And you can't give me an answer. I have lost faith in your product. Yeah. That is now a marketing term. I want to know exactly, like, you're not protecting industry secrets by saying,
if you're not protecting AI.
Good plug. They're smooth. Just injected that right in there.
You're welcome. This is why they give me the big bucks. Sorry. And the tables.
You're not protecting like intellectual property if you say that you're using time series forecasting, for instance, to figure out when attackers are most likely to attack. You don't need an LLM for that, and LLM is not an answer for everything. So to give some advice to the people around us, LLMs are not the end-all be-all. Traditional machine learning still has a very large place in this industry. So for instance, log analysis. Traditional machine learning, like a binary classifier, XGBoost, for instance, which is in Hunter. You can use binary classification to figure out, oh, this log was an attacker, this log was not an attacker. And you just run that over your billions of log files. It's going to work a lot better than trying to use RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, if I'm not mistaken, with an LLM. And what a RAG is, just to explain to anyone who doesn't know, it's kind of a way of getting around the context window of LLMs. So LLMs have a context window. They can really only understand a certain number of lines of text. Originally, the original ChatGPT, and correct me if I'm wrong, was like 1,000 tokens.
The context window was?
Yeah. Something around 1,000.
It was very small,
A couple thousand maybe tops. As of today, we have Claude cooking along at 200,000. It's only been 2 years. So what happens in the next 2 years? If your product depends entirely on RAG, and you're spending lots of money building RAG code bases and databases, and your whole company is built on RAG, I think you're going to be in a bad spot when the next generation of LLMs comes out. And the one after that.
If your product relies on OpenAI and Anthropic and all of these companies like not making progress in context windows or
really utility as a whole,
or accuracy, or introducing new features like search and that kind of stuff, then your product is like your startup is basically doomed, I think.
Right.
Like in terms of like
even if it's not a startup, your work is
correct.
It's going to not be useful anymore.
Like
RAG is a solution to a problem that will go away shortly. So that's my advice there. I would say the other thing is fine-tuning is used a lot. It's a buzzword I've heard at several of these booths. That fine-tuning, we've done a lot of fine-tuning ourselves.
We have done a lot of fine-tuning.
We have found it's not like a way of really improving the skill of the LLM.
No, it's more about
tasks.
improving a specific. It's improving a specific output.
Correct.
Like at least kind of output and input, I guess.
If you want your LLM to talk like Edgar Allan Poe, fine-tuning is a great idea.
Correct.
If you want your LLM to find threat hunters better by feeding it logs and fine-tuning it on logs and stuff,
if you
probably not going to be that useful.
If you want an LLM to have a crippling gambling addiction, you fine-tune it to have a crippling gambling addiction. That's pretty much that.
That's what Vegas has been doing for a long time.
Exactly. And that's what Vegas is really good at. Actually, you should bring your LLM to Vegas in order to fine-tune it.
I think you can
for
make
the crippling
addiction.
Probably.
Bet on the horses. Just ask ChatGPT which horse is
You're
going to
welcome for the amazing startup idea. I'm submitting that to YC next time. I'm going to write this down.
So. That's our advice to all of the people around here. The hunters lose out on our advice today, but you'll get it back next time. I promise.
Exactly. Yeah, I know you're. Everybody's on bated breath for the advice. Perfect. And I think that concludes the Vegas edition of Between Two Vulns. See you next time.
Ready to spotlight your skills? Join the hunt on hunter.com.